Thank you to Cade Silvermoon for their generous donation on Patreon. If you'd like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. Ominous music, holy shit, it's a van. What the? Hello everyone, my name is Deckerlink, and I'm professional. Welcome back to Hecko. Holy shit, this is the van that kills like everybody. Evil van, that's the twist to this story. The vans are evil. Volkswagen's trying to take over the world. Holy shit.
What the?
Jenna reels back, eyes wide.
That wasn't there a moment ago.
She mutters, craning her neck some to peer through the red-tinted window to see who's behind the wheel. After a moment of inspection, it's clear that there's no one inside. Jenna.
What?
Jenna.
This is the van from the dream. The one I told you about. Oh, come on.
Jenna doesn't sound incredulous to my claim. Just exhausted. That's how I fucking feel at this point, man. She crosses her arms tightly over her chest, not letting her eyes leave the sight of the idling vehicle.
Okay then. What's it doing here?
I don't have an answer for her, and therefore remain silent, stepping away from the front of the vehicle in case it somehow takes off. Micah, meanwhile, looks confused. He peers around, his yellow eyes bright and shimmering in the focus of the headlights.
What the fuck? I know where we are, but we were heading in the town toward our motel. How the fuck we here? We didn't cross the highway, did we?
I look to our east, and sure enough, there it is. The weathered asphalt of Route 65. I would have noticed if we had crossed pavement. Somebody would have. It's the complete opposite direction that we should be heading. Jenna gasps, suddenly, seemingly realizing that this, after a little after the rest of us.
We've been here before.
Leo speaks up, clutching the side of his head with a wince.
You recognize it too, right?
Leo still sounds half asleep, turning to face us, though it appears he's only speaking to Micah and I. The bat blinks.
Oh, fuck. You dreamed about this too, Chase?
I swallowed and nod, clutching my clammy paws against my shirt. I think so. The dream from earlier had already begun to fade from my memory, as most dreams do. But the way I felt watching it was still very clear. And this whole scene is starting to give me some serious Deja or something like it. There was an albino guy. Although we speculated to be Sam, and I believe someone mentioned somewhere that it's confirmed. But let's see how we go. He had bright red eyes and got ran over. The van's motor continues to idle, humming as it waits.
Mine was a little different.
Micah doesn't elaborate.
No, we've been here before in real life.
Implying that this is not real life? Micah glances over at the wolf, and the two exchange a look for a moment. Jenna steps forward and tugs at the driver's side door. It opens with a quiet creak. Some errant cobwebs fraying apart as the door is pulled fully open. She squints at something by the wheel, then reaches in and taps it. Keys are in the ignition, and there's this big red light on the dash. Maybe a check engine light? She frowns to herself. Looks like this thing hasn't been used in a while. Sans whoever turned this on, but I'm no mechanic.
If only there were one amongst us now.
Leo? She pokes her head out, raising an inquisitive brow at the wolf. You're welcome to take a look if you're feeling up to it. She eyes Leo up, examining his physical condition. Her expression is a mixture of skepticism and concern. Leo begins to limp toward the van, and Micah quickly steps beside him to keep him from tipping over. He grunts appreciatively in response, speaking up.
It's probably not a check engine light.
What makes you say that?
Those didn't really exist back when this was made. before the mid-90s.
Are you guys thinking we can drive this out of Echo?
I'm a little more concerned with wondering who turned this on in the first place, and how we even got here, but that's an optimistic thought, Chase.
So, maybe this is a gift horse that we're looking squarely in the mouth right now? Doubt it. Micah rasps, helping Leo prop himself against the driver's side door as Jenna steps inside.
The light. Looks like it isn't coming from the dash.
Leo clumsily grasps the steering wheel, peering closer.
It's like it's being reflected off the odometer, but I don't see a direct source.
How Leo can see clearly at all after repeated blows to the head may be the real question here.
That's fucking weird.
A shuffling noise comes from the back of the van, and everyone freezes. There was also a shuffling noise in my audio, and that's because Bree's in the office with me today. Yay! Yeah, she's working. She's got headphones on, so she ain't listening to what we're doing, and we ain't gonna be bothering her, but we're in here together. There's a raggedy fabric partition hiding everything past the front seats from view. Gingerly, Leo pulls it aside and squints into a red light, illuminating his face.
Is anyone back there?
Leo doesn't immediately respond, and I can't see him well from where I'm standing. I limp my way beside Jenna.
Leo?
She inquires again, more urgent.
No. Not right now. There's something back here, though. Well, that's obvious enough. I'm too big to squeeze in between the seats. Gonna go around.
Everyone takes a step back out of the now seemingly coherent Wolf's way as he exits the van. Oh god, we've seen that picture before.
Fucking deja vu something fierce right now. You too?
Jenna gives us both a quizzical look as Leo braces the handle of the rough... Dude, I fucking got deja vu. Holy shit. Of the rusted van door and gives it a yank. At first it doesn't budge, but after another hard tug, the door flies open. One door practically unhinged as it dangles off to the side. There's something standing in the middle of the van on 3 spindly legs. The red light projects from something on the top, and it begins to flash on and off. A camera on a tripod? At first I think it's mine, but upon closer inspection it looks like an older model.
No fucking way!
Micah quickly backs away, nearly tripping over a prickly pear cactus in his haste.
Nope, this ain't real. Everybody pack it up. We're being filmed? What is this, some elaborate prank show? This is 100% not funny!
Leo says nothing, climbing up into the back of the van, turning the display monitor on the camera around. On it, a little red dot on the corner flashes on and off, in time with the illumination of the rest of the cab. The display screen itself shows us standing there on the back of the van, though the image is fuzzy, distorted. I wonder how long this has been here.
That's my camera!
Micah shouts in surprise, looking briefly to the rest of us before lowering his voice some.
Well, the high school's camera, but they were shit at keeping inventory. I ditched it after my folks kicked me out. Okay, but what's it doing here? And why is it recording?
Judging by the looks on everyone's faces, I don't think anyone has an answer to that. Leo brings a heavy paw up to his eyes, rubbing them some before peering at Micah, then the screen, then back again. Micah cants his head some at the wolf, letting out a slow exhale.
Either this is one fucked up joke, wolf boy, or I'm beginning to think that this is the Hum's doing.
The Hum? The Hum. He mentioned that before by the motel.
Wow, I haven't heard that word in a while.
What's the Hum? Is it the sound we're hearing in the background? Because this one note's been playing a long time. Whoever's pressing the note down on the fucking synthesizer, their finger's gonna go broken.
It's, hard to describe. Bad dreams, like we talked about before. Feels kind of like Vision Quest shit. Real spiritual stuff that Keith talked about a lot. Wasn't good vibes, though. Bad energy only. Thing is, it only really happens when you're sleeping, and I'm wide-ass awake.
extends his arms out to his sides for a moment before gripping the van's door, thumbing at the chipping paint.
I haven't thought about that in a while. Jeremy and Adam talked about it when I was younger, after I mentioned seeing...
The thing we just saw a half hour ago, she wants to say, but she still can't visibly quite accept that. Not yet. That which we know as being a fucked up future version of Flynn from his route.
You know what?
I don't, but as I was saying, you can kind of tell when it's happening because it's more than just a nightmare. You start buzzing. Like one of them orchestra bands tuning up, violins in your skull, you know? A creeping sensation that I know exactly what he's talking about builds up in my gut.
You hear it too?
What, like right now? Leo stares for a moment before nodding. One of the bat's large ears flicks and he turns his head from side to side.
I don't think so.
He pauses.
Maybe. It might be the engine.
He shifts attention back to the vehicle, yanking on the van's door some.
The spooky-ass ghost van engine.
The metal frame of the van seems to rattle in response, though that might just be my imagination.
Sometimes I'd go out into the hills and just camp out away from home because the hum wasn't as bad there. Heather did it a bunch with me too, though she had other reasons.
Jenna nods, exhaling slowly before crossing her arms over her chest.
So, I suppose then you have a theory about all this? One based in, Masada spiritualism? Honestly, I thought it was like radon poisoning or something. But you get the hum in a few other places around town too. I've slept all over. The rail yard, the lake, this van. They're all real hummy places.
That's all places where murders have happened. Murders, I tell you.
You've slept in this van before?
Despite everything that's happened, the idea that anyone would want to take a nap in this creepy thing is dubious at best for Jenna.
Well,
Micah trails off. One usually so coarse and brazen, his seeming awkwardness right now feels out of place for him.
We both have. Briefly.
That's what they were filming. Leo places the flat of his palm on the bed of the cab. Flattened cardboard boxes and ratty bits of fabric that must have once been blankets and towels cover the surface. Large canine's brow furrows some, and finally he looks back up at all of us. May just be me, but he doesn't seem as sluggish anymore. Jen lets out an exhausted, amused noise, letting her arms flop down to her sides.
Truly? I'm not sure I see the appeal.
Leo and Micah look at each other. There's a silence. Wait.
Hold on. You're not saying I was so stupid?
We were both stupid. Micah squeezes the bridge of his nose, closing his eyes as if cringing at himself.
I was such a skeevy little bitch back then. I don't know why I pushed... No, I didn't mean for that, Micah. I meant for what happened after. You had it rough and I didn't care. Or if I did, I didn't wanna, because of what happened at the party.
I feel like an outsider looking in on some intimate conversation I don't understand. Which is a feeling I can't say I've felt when I'm around Leo. He'd always go out of his way to include me in everything. What party? What are you guys talking about?
Chase, 2008. That Dia de los Muertos party at the Parsons warehouse. The one where you told me you were gay. The night we got together.
I blink. My parents had caught me watching gay porn that morning on the computer, and I was afraid to come home to them, so I went to some party at the Parsons. This is Route 65, if you recall. That night itself was kind of a blur. I remember getting in a very brief fight with a guy who dumped beer on TJ, then waking up with Leo over me, eyes full of concern. Somehow I ended up confiding everything to him about me being into guys. He apparently had a hunch about it, and next thing I knew, he was ushering me out of the old warehouse and to walk home with him. We kissed in the rail yard by his house, and that was about the start of our relationship proper. Still, something always seemed a bit off about that party, the way Leo was acting. I think I remember some dude trying to come up to talk to him and Leo telling him off before insisting that I not ask about it. He seemed really serious at the time. Didn't want to ruin a good thing or something like that. I didn't get a good look at the guy he talked to, but he was carrying a camera? The wolf taps the side of the tripod with his fingertips. Leo, you are reprehensible. Jenna's voice is cold and curt. Jenna? Shut up. Jenna looks taken aback, but only for a split second before shaking her head in disbelief. Leo winces, clutching his wounded head. His reddish eyes flick up to meet mine. I shouldn't have agreed to it. I was just... Jenna quickly interjects, stepping in front of me. No, Leo. This whole week has just proven to me time and time again that you are just... She stares, letting out a hot puff of air between her lips before spreading her arms wide. What did I just click on? Sorry. Just perfect for Echo. You truly, truly belong here. You know that. God, how old were you then? How old was Micah? Did you even care? Fucking hell, you about done? The bat pivots on his heel away from the van to face Jenna, his eyebrows narrowed beneath his bangs. Look, you don't know me. I ain't some fucking victim. Shit was my choice. What? What was your choice? Chase, you are an absolute idiot sometimes. Jenna sounds very disgusted. I frown at her, wondering what the fuck I did wrong. And I abandoned you. Jenna visibly seethed. None of this. She points to the rusty van, some red light flashing on and off. Makes any sense. But all your actions completely do. You are just all so perfect for this town, thinking any of that was okay. She throws up her hands, legs shaking with frustration. Is she including me in this? It is. I'm gone. Done. Jenna. She turns to leave, though a crackling from the front of the van brings her to a halt. Hey. From the console, the distorted voice I've become all too familiar with rings forth again. Oh, the screen is going dark. Oh, God. It's coming from the old radio, the audio crackling through dusty speakers. Jenna recognizes it instantly and begins stepping back away from the van again. We should go. Now. Her voice is shaky. The air itself seems fuzzy, electric. Like I'm breathing in hundreds of tiny strands of vibrating twine. That sounded like Chase. Hi. He was the only one to outright respond back. Micah looks at him with a bewildered expression. Don't talk to the hum. It's Chase. Chase is right there, dipshit. He gestures to me, still standing gobsmacked at the back of the van. Leo slowly looks back at me, squinting at my chin, then my eyes. It's me. Let's go home. He sees that it isn't my mouth moving, and his eyes widen a little more. A small line of blood runs down from a spot just behind his ear down to his jaw. I promise I won't bring it up again. Let's go home. Who gives a fuck what the others say? You know I'm right. I remember saying those exact words after Flynn blasted us for skipping Jenna's birthday party in 10th grade. I'd convinced Leo to hang out with me instead. I was addicted to private time with him. I promise I won't bring it up again. We're all silent, staring at the dark cab where the noise is coming from. Except for Leo. He's looking directly at me. Leave. Why? He asked me. I'm not sure what to say. It's not me speaking, but those are my words. Everything feels hazy. Hazy and wet. Micah leans his head into the van, trying to get the wolf's attention. Leo, Keith always said not to talk to the hum. That's what this shit is, no doubt. The hysteria. It has a voice? Apparently, it's your fucking voice, Chase. No wonder everyone is so damn riled up about you coming back. But why me? Do I look like some kind of a Seder Wiseman? Wiseman? I look like a Wiseman. Micah grunts, fidgeting from foot to foot. Despite his demeanor, the night seemed more serene than a Morgan fiend and Morgan. Sorry. He's definitely visibly unnerved by all this. I'm parroting shit I heard from a guy who's probably dead. For a while, when I was younger, I thought I heard Keith's voice too, telling me the shit I wanted to hear, but shit that wasn't good for me. So I got the fuck out of town. Jenna throws her hands up, squeezing the pendant on her necklace. I can't handle this! I'm gonna do what the spooky van wants and leave. It's not the van. A voice in... Shit, sorry. Oh, fuck. A voice in my head speaks softly, like a whisper from right behind my ear. It's a masculine voice, but not my own. An older man, with kind of an old Western accent. Familiar. Glancing back, there's no one there. Without thinking, I speak. It's not the van. And how do you know that? I don't know, I admit. There's a long silence, and Leo's tail curls inward. He's biting the inside of his cheek, thinking hard. Finally, he looks at me in the eyes again. It's me. That thing. It follows me. I thought it was you, but it's not you. You're different now. He gesticulates in my direction. Leo, I love... Please, be quiet for a second. Leo interrupts the otherworldly voice like he's shushing a small child. Now he's looking at me, but his gaze seems to shift towards the horizon. 1,000-yard stare, and the background just shifted again. Chase, you all left, and it never was the same. So I tried to cope. I remember all the stuff you used to say to me, even the naggy shit, all your banter. Hell, I imagine every day at work that you're there with me, talking to me while I'm fixing cars. I pretend I'm teaching you about the basics, like changing oil or replacing headlights. I know it's not riveting stuff, but in my head, you love me and I love you. There's just some distance, that's all. And I drive home listening to whatever's on the radio, and I imagine you reacting to it, groaning every time the word truck is mentioned in a country song, or making some snide-ass remark about the political ads. A little smile curves up along his jowls, though it diminishes as quick as it forms. The little drop of blood running down the fur of his cheek suddenly splatters on the cab floor beneath him. When I get home, I go online, and there's this pulling in my chest. Like a dread, you know? I click on the social media shit, and it's you. The real you. And you're different. You're wearing new shirts, hanging with new friends, drinking fancy college beers, growing terrible facial hair, sorry. Touch my goatee briefly. Micah gives me a sidelong glance. And it feels like I'm losing you all over again. So I just avoid it. I pretend that we still drink together on the patio as the sun goes down on Saturdays. I pretend that you're there beside me at home, watching me play my games. And I pretend at night that pillow I've gotten my arms wrapped around is you. Make your little noises you do, and I ruffle your head fur and squeeze you. Leo plants his rump against the side of the cabin, sliding down to a sitting position as he clutches his head. And then one day, you started talking back. At first it was quiet. In the back of my head, not even really noticeable. Over time, it just got more real, yeah? Soon I was looking in mirrors and seeing you standing there. A reflection in a window or a pool of water.
Sometimes I swear you could even touch me. But it wasn't you. Not the real you. It was the you I wanted you to be. This perfect, subservient thing. But it didn't make me happier. It was just a dream. A dream that kept blurring between, like, what was real and what wasn't. And so I wanted to see you, the real you, to, I don't know, get a grip, fix me. But it just made things worse when you didn't give a shit. When I would smile and you would look away, and you'd take every chance to hang with others instead of me. His eyes flicked briefly toward Jenna before trailing back to the space between his feet, the wolf breathing slowly. These past few days, it's been unlike anything I've ever felt before. I'd forget what was real and what wasn't. It drive me up the walls, you know. So sorry, I just...
Rubs his face.
Fuck.
The wolf goes still, the gravity of his words rendering everyone silent. Even the radio. Jenna, who seems to be constantly wavering between lingering and noping the fuck out of here, glances back over her shoulder. Her grievances with Leo and Micah are apparently lessened in the face of continued paranormal onslaught. So this thing that we're seeing, as manifested by the hum, is some sort of tulpa? Tulpa? The name sounds familiar, like something Carl mentioned to me in passing. In layman, a more advanced version of an imaginary friend. The Fennec frowns deeply, thinking. The process of induction, visualization, thought form, and other mental forces can stimulate these sorts of psychosomatic happenings. Generally, you see it with people who say they talk to Jesus or other religious icons that encourage prayer and meditation upon idols. You're saying I'm like some kind of worshipped idol? Jenna sighs as Leo slinks down a little. Sure. That still doesn't explain why we can see and hear this thing. Honestly, it's more likely we're enduring some sort of collective traumatic hallucination. But right now, I'm just spitballing here to rationalize this. She swirls her paw in the direction of the van. A person that others can see and interact with. Born from a dream. We watch the radio, though it doesn't chime in. I think it's gone. Another silence. Finally, Micah speaks up. Jesus fuck, Leo. Can't you just print out Chase's yearbook picture and tape it to a flashlight like a normal person? Wow, okay. Leo looks to Micah, his tired, wounded face slipping into a grin before he starts to chuckle. It's the first bit of proper laughter I've heard from him in days, even if it is bittersweet. Micah, I'm sorry. Dude, for real, it's fine. Micah watches Leo with some wariness in his golden eyes, crossing his tattooed arms over his chest. Nah. What do you mean, nah? Nah. We may have just been messing around, but you had some shit rough at home. Everyone knew it. And I just didn't want to think about it, yeah? You just disappeared one day, and that was that. But you were small. I didn't have nobody to turn to, and I should have been there for you. Micah scuffs his foot against the dirt, looking a mixture of frazzled and embarrassed at the conversation taking place. We didn't have that kind of relationship, not like you and Chase had. Relationship? The bat looks at me, quickly clarifying. It wasn't really a relationship or nothing. That was a bad word to use. Just two kids who both knew that they liked dudes and experimenting. There's a twisting sensation on my chest as I look at the both of them, then imagining them in the van. Right before what was essentially the most romantic night of my life, the day I most loved and special out of any, with a $700 camera and a 3-year age difference. Micah ignores Jenna. Judging by your expression, I'm guessing he never told you. I don't blame him. Leo scoots himself to the back of the van, hanging his legs off the end as he looks at me.
And I should have. I just didn't want to lose you, you know?
He's looking at me now. And yet, he lost you anyway.
Oh.
Oh, that's all I can manage to say. Leo turns his attention back to Micah.
I'm no replacement for Keith, but I should have helped you get back on your feet, introduced you to the group. Dios, you and Chase would have gotten along after a while. Didn't you want to be a journalism major?
Jenna, despite the apologetic tone of Leo, definitely doesn't seem eager to stick around for this conversation. Man, that was a lifetime ago.
We could have taken your feral ass in, shown you how society works. Come on, you probably don't even know how to do your taxes.
Micah clicks his tongue against the roof of his mouth, kind of like Leo, like how Leo does.
Fuck taxes. Government ain't getting shit.
Anyway, he clears his still raspy throat, wincing as he swallows.
If you want to get ahead in life, you can't rely on others. Gotta get it for yourself.
He passes a glance toward Jenna for a moment. We did. I chime in, still trying to wrap my head around that revelation from earlier. Micah looks like he's about to snap back with something biting, but just waves it off with a flop of his hand. Anyway, if you wanted forgiveness, you got it. Let's just put some distance between us and this hotspot, okay?
Please.
Micah grunts once, beginning to walk off behind Jenna. After a moment, he slows some, looking back to Leo. Glad you finally woke up, though. Wow. I gotta tell you, that conversation, that revelation from Leo, his admittance of all that is... I mean, I know, like, it's become a thing now, right? Me shitting on Leo, but, like, that does affect things. That does affect my opinion of the person, and it takes a lot to admit something like that, especially in the face of something so dire. Delusion is a temptation a lot of people can face, and one that is so easy to cling to in the face of overwhelming opposition. Delusion can make great people into pets and can ruin otherwise great things. I'm going to have to think about my opinion of Leo after that. Jenna rubs her face into the pads of her paws. She's shaken, nerves frazzled. Micah and Leo, too. Though I just feel numb. All this insane shit is happening around me, and it's like a dream, something not even real. There's a layer of separation between what I perceive and what's really occurring in front of me. Watching a playback of memories projected right onto my own eyes. It's not the first time I've felt like this, even outside of this supposed hysteria, but it's never been so strong. And as I glance behind me, the van's still there, real as ever. Mike and the newly sobered Leo walk on ahead.
Maybe it's like a minefield, you know? Projecting thoughts and shit for everyone to see.
Yeah, just think real hard about Carl. We can take his spooky fucking doppel home with us instead, save us some trouble. After a while, I can't make out what they're saying. They're talking with a more serious tone, their voices lowered. I'm not sure if I even want to know what they're discussing now. As we approach the edge of the old highway, my eyes settle upon a small mound of dirt with a carefully placed stone on the center. I'd walked down this stretch of Route 65 about a dozen times growing up, and I've seen this before, but was never curious enough to investigate. There's something about it that draws my attention, and then I realize why. The dream from last night. The grave. That's the spot. I stop, the others still walking ahead. Following the road back to town, or at least until we get to the railroad crossing, and then we can follow that. I look back to the mound of dirt, and I'm compelled to approach it. Without really thinking, I'm on my knees. Oh, God. Okay, well, lovely assortment of choices here. I can't imagine what I'm gonna fucking pick. What? Just do it. Oh God, no! Leave me alone, indecision. Next, think I know. I'm scooping the tips of my paws through the packed soil, digging up dirt and tossing the clumps aside. I don't know why I'm doing this. Close my eyes, trying to snap out of it. It doesn't help. And soon there's a musty smell in the air, like the inside of an old attic. I managed to get about a foot down into the earth so far, and the smell is only getting stronger. At about 2 feet down, something solid touches my fingertips. Keep going, dusting off dirt around whatever it is. The surface is curved and cracked in places like pottery. Even before I get all the dirt off, I have a hunch of what it is. 2 empty sockets stare up at me, and I stare back. Hello. Voice plays in my head, much more profound than I've ever heard it before. After all this time, to end up here. The voice almost sounds like it sighs, then goes silent. Are you the guy in the grave? I ask the voice, which rings more clearly with each passing word. The way he sounds, it's like he's right here, despite the unnatural cadence. The voice in my head? I whisper to the skull, compelled to touch it. Any skin or fur has long since rotted away, and the head itself is a yellowed ivory color. His clothes, from what are visible, are in tatters, but the remnants of a button-up shirt and suspenders still can be seen. The voice doesn't respond, so I ask another question. Who are you? Tumbleweed rolls by along the road in front of me, the others getting further and further away. Instead of responding, I feel myself begin to dig further down, scooping out a few more mounds of dirt until something leather and small can be seen. A hardy little wallet with a snake emblem pressed into the center. Flipping it open, several business cards and dollar bills practically dissolve into the exposed air, though there is a plastic ID card in the back. It's a driver's license, clearly decades old, with the faded ink of several stamps covering most of it. Oh, God. What text can be seen is in an old-timey typewriter font. I wipe my thumb across the surface, wiping away the dirt and grime. Just say it, man. Just say it. Fuck! Oh, God, I didn't... This makes me so fucking sad, man. Like, just devastating. This is devastating to me. I saw somewhere that they said that this is only one possible outcome for Sam, but like, fuck, man. Samuel Ayers. Date of birth, 1888. There's a little picture of an elderly, pale feline with stark, reddish-looking eyes that remind me slightly of Leo's. It looks haggard and sad. Ancient, really. A relic of another time. The man from my dreams. I should be terrified, but again, I still feel disconnected. A passive viewer who can only sometimes speak without any control. Now you know how I feel. I managed to swallow, peering into those sockets like they were looking back at me. I've never met a ghost before, I remarked quietly. Not a ghost. Then what are you? Another drawn-out silence, though this time I waited out. Maybe something like that thing on the radio in the van. Just older and changed now. It's gone, but I'm still here, clinging to you like a lifeboat in open water. We've been together for some time. Didn't see one another for a while, but you came back. They always come back. Together? I trail off, trying to wrap my head around what he means and what's really happening. I lean back some, feeling less resistance on my movements. I feel weird, like I'm not really here. You've felt this way for a while now. It always happens like this over time. It's just a little stronger. With me. My gaze is pulled down to the license in my grip. Again, I read the name. Samuel Ayers. He goes quiet for a moment and speaks up again. With him. His voice falters, a strange conveyance of emotion in his otherwise stilted, monotone presentation. I speak up again. There's something wrong with me. It's like I'm not doing things on my own anymore. You're not. I'm with you. You are indecisive by nature.
What? How?
I choose.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why are we connected? How do I make this all go away?
Don't. He says nothing, but I can hear him rumbling, stirring. At least 15 seconds pass before said stirring turns into words. You came back to find the truth, and that's what you told yourself. Or that's what you told yourself. Yeah, you've known it all along. You just bury it, over and over again. Each failing, uncomfortable moment or horror, you can't face anything. You're just like him. The man with the hat that's always too tight. Brains splattered on fresh grass, pine needles, and a whimpering child.
Oh, so that would be Sydney's dad. The man with the hat that's too tight, is that Sydney's dad?
I don't... You're weak. You are pathetic. There's a
Why are you Sam, why are you being so salty?
There's a pause, and again his tone shifts, a deviation from his uniform speaking pattern. His voice sounds softer, distant, like an echo. They said the thing! Of something said far away. Be safe, kid. Before I have time to comprehend anything, I hear footsteps upon the asphalt in front of me.
Chase, what are you still doing back here? What are you looking at?
Jenna steps closer, peering into the little hole I had dug. She thins her lips.
Oh.
What's going on? Leo's booming voice calls out from down the highway, the wolf looking back at us. Jenna stares at the desiccated? Okay. Desiccated? I don't know. Remains for a moment before calling back. Chase dug up old corpse! God damn it, Chase! And of all the things to add to the situation, Jenna sighs, resting her paws on her knees and letting her head hang down.
What he said.
She looks up after a moment, spying the card in my hand.
Is that an ID?
Yeah. Samuel Ayers is the name. I think he's the one who got hit by the van.
Oh.
She looks off to the side.
Great.
Huh?
What, Chase?
She responds, exasperated. Don't you care? Someone died here. I think he matters somehow to me.
Chase.
Her eyes drift to the skull cropping out of the mound of dirt.
God, I've passed this so many times just out here walking. Never knowing there was a person buried here. How old is the ID card?
I squinted some of the smudged text. 70s, I think. I think that's when it was last renewed. Jenna frowns.
Poor guy.
Yeah, really poor guy.
So if we follow the fucking line of succession of sorts, we know that fucking here it's with Chase, yeah, and then before him was Sydney, and before him was Sydney's dad, and before him it was Sam, before him it was Jack, and as people have very kindly pointed out in the smoke room, that's apparently supposed to happen after the stuff with John Begay, so maybe so somehow there has to be a link between that and Jack. Somehow Jack wound up with it, or maybe it was just in the mine where the murder happened, or that's still a little bit all unclear. Maybe people can can explain it all to me in the comments, but
in Flynn's route, it gets passed off to him, and then he becomes the fucking the wall socket man. I don't fucking know what the rules are. Jesus Christ, though. He crouches down beside me, taking the license from me.
You should hold on to this so that we can give it to the proper authorities for them to handle. I wonder if anyone out there is still looking for him, or even remembers who he is.
Her eyes flick over the little card, settling on the picture.
He looks kind of familiar, too.
She hands me back the ID, then extends out her arm to help me up. With a nod on my stow match, I take her hand and use her weight to rise up without putting too much strain on my injured leg. I think he might be in my head. The words leave my mouth more casually than I meant, and Jenna does a little double take towards me before letting go.
Well, tell him I said hi. We'll deal with him in a bit.
She's just like Cynthia sometimes. That's a fun callback. Not really fun. That's just a callback. He says you're just like Cynthia sometimes. Oh, God. Little, is that the grandma's name? Is that what wound up with Cynthia? Jenna just stares at me, then the grave, then back to me. She brings 2 fingers to her temple, massaging it.
Chase, please don't listen to the voices in your head right now.
Oh, here we go again. She responds curtly as Micah arrives behind her, Leo hobbling at his side. You okay, Otter? I look at him for a long moment and answer honestly, I don't know.
Same. Let's just get going, okay? Chase, you can keep leaning on me if it hurts to walk.
Give her a grateful nod as I rest an arm on her shoulder. Thanks. As we head off, Micah lingers a little behind us, staring into the shallow grave. He steps off the road, pushing the dirt I'd removed back into the hole with a few hasty swipes of his foot. Before anyone can ask what he's doing, he catches back up with us, but staring straight ahead. We've been walking for what feels like ages. The moon's still high in the sky and the taste of water in the air. Maybe it'll rain. Nah, you're just coming up to the lake, I imagine. I keep playing back that conversation earlier in my head. The voice that seemingly activated when I found the skeleton. I've heard it 1,000 times before, but I always had just assumed it was me, my subconscious. Particularly bitter side of myself that would chime in every now and again just to add insult to injury. Yeah, why is Sam being such a jerk?
Really, lives out in the boonies, doesn't she?
Who's she? Leo winces some as he walks, no longer using Micah as a walking crutch. Yeah, I don't get out here often. Be wary, though. Apparently she's got a gun, so no threatening movements or nothing if we see you.
Glenn's got one, too. Should have swung back to my place so I could grab my piece. Leo, for God's sakes, we're not getting into a firefight tonight. But mine's better than 2 junkies with pop guns. Oh, yes, that heavily concussed, hobbled wolf certainly has an advantage over Clint and Heather, both of which spent a considerable portion of their free time shooting random objects in a trailer park. I know because I grew up listening to it.
She ain't lying, at least for Clint. He ain't no fan of you. Should probably let me do the talking. Should probably let me do the talking.
Didn't you betray them? I think I might just be the better person for this. The neutral party, so to speak.
Yeah, but I know them. I can sort this shit out quick, like. Oh! Ooh, an actual choice! Jesus, we haven't had, like, an actual choice in a while. Let me hit that save, just in case what I choose is fucked up, as I am oft to do. But seeing as we are still on the Jenna route, whether that matters at all, I imagine this is one of the last choices between us picking a good or bad route. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I don't know, man. For the time being, I'm gonna click on Jenna, but if I get it wrong, I'll come back and record the better one. I mean, I've recorded bad routes before. So Jenna, Jeremy's her brother, and Clint is Jeremy's best friend, and presumably Heather listens to both of them. She's not really been involved in any of the drama so far, so I trust her to get this taken care of. I look down at Jenna, who I'm currently leaning against. She can put her degree to work.
Oh God, don't put it like that. For the last time, I don't study any of that interpersonal communication business that shrinks do. I lean more towards neuroscience anyway. So Rich Goat is in great hands then? Nice. Rich Goat. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be Carl, obviously. Micah responses tersely, Jenna giving him quite the side eye. She still seems pretty disgusted with him and Leo for the van revelations. I got a feeling I chose wrong. I got a feeling someone's gonna die. And the further we get away from it, I'm starting to feel myself get more and more ill at the thought. The camera, Jesus. Leo had asked if we ever wanted to film anything before when we were together. But I always said no. I shut my eyes, trying not to think about it. Focus. Just gotta find Carl. A long, curvy gravel road leads halfway up Echo Canyon. Several houses are dotted along its length, though most are empty and dilapidated, squatting grounds for seasonal transients. A little pink house stands out amongst the rest, with a big utility vehicle parked out front. I've actually been inside before. We should be careful. The front door is open. What? Jenna points, and sure enough, the double doors leading into the house are cracked open. Doors themselves are strangely ornate, painted like a drawbridge with big knockers on both sides. A creeping sense of dread begins to dawn upon me.
Hunker down. Let's go in quiet.
Oh, Lord. To be continued. Oh, fuck. Okay, so I'm going to make a save here with the original one. And then, okay, there's no load button. So I'm going to go to title. Yes. I'm going to load in and see what the conversation would be for the other one. And then make a save for that. So let's go with Micah. Well, I presume Mike is the one who would generally know how to talk them down. I doubt they're really taking orders from Brian, and now that he's dead, presumably, hopefully dead, it should be easy to get them to stop all this shit. Mike offers me a tired smile. Jace, I'm gonna steal you something nice when this is over. You need a new MP3 player. I chuckle a bit, shaking my head, which was a bad idea since it's smart something fierce. I just use my phone for music, thanks though. Jenna, who is still supporting me as I walk, huffs.
I'm just worried about Carl. It's hard to put my trust in someone when his life is on the line.
Yeah, but like I said, I knowed him. Jeremy ain't the same kid you ditched back in high school. Jenna hums.
Yes, I noticed that when he left us in a torture trailer to die.
I doubt he knew how far Brian would take it, but yeah. Cunt level's gone way up.
Still pretty dangerous, no matter what.
Jenna looks sidelong toward the wolf, narrowing her gaze some. Still seems pretty okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's... the fucking... the Hunker Down's going quiet. No, okay. So that... The second one, I'm going to put it... I'll put it right here. Fuck it. Okay, so the first one is us choosing Jenna. The second one is us choosing Micah. Which one? Let me know in the comments down below, please. For the love of God, don't fuck it up. Oh, man. I mean, I'll probably just see what happens with both, because I also look and see what the bad routes are. But anyway, that's all for this update of Echo. It's Jenna's route's the only one getting updated, because all the other ones are done. And then maybe there's some sort of epilogue. I don't fucking know what it's going to be. All I know is this update was sad as fuck and gave me a lot to think about. And gets me even more intrigued to know how the fuck the smoke room's going to go. Because I just want to know, man. I want to know. And I want to know more about this fucking world. And someone pointed out, it's like, yeah, you can't just reveal everything, because then there's no fucking magic. There's no mystery. There's no intrigue. There's no fucking incentive to keep wondering about it. But at the same time, you gotta give me something to keep me feeling like I'm moving along and learning more and more, and I am learning more and more, but it feels like I'm learning a lot of almost something. But it's got my mind intrigued. This is 2 years running my favorite visual novel, so that has something. There's something to be said for that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you all very much for watching. If you want to play this game for yourself, the link to it is in the description down below. It's free, but in development, so feel free to support if you want. Just be kind. Also in the description down below are various ways to support me, from either following me on my social media platforms or by crowdfunding sources like Patreon or Ko-fi. If you want to be notified when future updates of this future episodes of this series come out, the subscribe and bells are down below. And if you don't want to wait for that, you want to see other stuff that I have done like this that you may also enjoy, the cards up above, I've linked to some playlists of some stuff you might like as well. And that all being said, I have been the trained unprofessional. My mind is exhausted. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all next time.